We've been gearing up for Aligned 17, which is a virtual conference dedicated to sales and marketing alignment. It's happening May 22nd through the 26th, and we wanted to do something special for B2B Growth listeners. Leading up to the event, we'll be giving you early access to some of the Aligned 17 sessions. Today's episode is exactly that. So if you like today's interview, head over to aligned17.com and sign up to access every session of the event. We've got an incredible lineup of speakers, including Gary Vaynerchuk, Jill Conrath, Tony Hughes, Tucker Max, and Trish Bertuzzi, along with dozens of other B2B sales and marketing experts. So go to aligned17.com and sign up today. You're listening to the B2B Growth Show, a podcast dedicated to helping B2B executives achieve explosive growth. Whether you're looking for techniques and strategies or tools and resources, you've come to the right place. I'm James Carberry.
And I'm Jonathan Green.
Let's get into the show.
Hey guys, welcome to Aligned 2017. I am here with the one and only Craig Rosenberg. Welcome, Craig.
Thanks for having me, Brandon.
Absolutely. So, for those who don't know, Craig Rosenberg, prolific Phil's drinker. Fill in the rest of it for us.
Well, I am a Phil's drinker, and I happen to see many Engagio folks there. So, Craig Rosenberg, I'm the Chief Analyst and co-founder of TOPO. We're a research advisory consulting firm focused on sales and marketing. And my background and my focus today is sales development, and marketing.
So you're the perfect guy to talk about sales and marketing alignment.
Mm-hmm. Or right? Lack thereof.
Or lack thereof, exactly. Well, let's just dive into it. First question for you, what type of companies do you work with the most? Size, industry, etc.?
Well, we're primarily B2B.
Primarily,
I would say SaaS and software, but we have other tech. The size is probably, wide range, but we could say 50 to 100 million and above. So we're exposed to lots of smaller organizations just by virtue of being in software and SaaS. But, the clients that we work with are sort of mid-range and up.
And those companies that you work with that have really tight sales and marketing alignment, what are they doing right?
Well, there's a soft thing, right, which is they communicate. But I think the big one is one that has been something we've wanted for a long time, which is they have dividing lines on what they're responsible for, but that's not where they sort of end each other's relationship. And frankly, that falls on marketing, right, which is instead of siloing marketing to the job of creating MQLs, those two they work together against revenue. And it's something we've always talked about, but it's definitely it doesn't happen at all, right? And the ones that do, they have that relationship. Now, when they do that, they do have common milestones, goals, a common plan to getting there, and they figure out how to work there to get there. So it's one of those things where it feels weird saying it, right? Because it's kind of cheesy. Mm-hmm. We're going to focus on revenue, and everyone says that. It sounds like a blogger thing or someone who's never been in the pit. But actually, it's true. Like, I just had someone the other day, great company down in Santa Barbara. They have incredible sales and marketing alignment. And when I really dug into it, there was the soft stuff like communication, collaboration, but that stuff didn't work unless they were both focused on the goal and the journey to get to the goal and how they can help each other go achieve it. And so I know it's been like in every blog post, everyone's dream for years, but that's definitely been the key.
Got it. And actually on that point, so was hosting the executive breakfast yesterday morning.
Yeah.
Robert Kaler was there, made some great points, along with, who was it? I think Keenan brought it up. Mm-hmm. Organizational alignment actually includes customer success as well. It's a big piece of account-based strategies.
Any strategy.
Yeah, talk about aligning not just sales and marketing, but how do you actually start to align customer success on that as well?
Well, I would say that's there's a similar theme, right? Which is, I think ultimately in a great company, the goal is lifetime value. Okay. And so I talked about that journey sales and marketing goes and figures out, but you don't do it to net new deal. You do it through the entire lifetime of the client. And that includes LTV, and that includes CS, account management, customer for life, whatever your groups are called. Those guys have to be looped into that journey, and the same rigor, thought process, and strategy has to be applied there. So they need to be aligned on the strategy, and to do that, it depends on your business. It might be a segmentation exercise. It might be how marketing can support them, right? But if you don't put everyone on that same trajectory, what's the incentive for marketing to help them? Right?
Very true.
So everyone's like, well, we want to do, a lot of times I go in and the CS teams are very young people left to figure it out. And in a really good company, marketing and sales and CS say, okay, we closed the deal. What's next? And how do we support each other to go do that? And that's what we're talking about here.
No, I love it.
Okay. I love that, though, that someone, especially like Keenan, right? Who's like because he is really bright, but remember, he's a sales focused
pure sales
guy.
Yeah.
And for him to bring that up is a really good indicator that we're thinking big here. Mm-hmm. And we're not, how it, like that even if it was a $10,000 deal in the MQL to deal close era, those were just milestones that we wanted to hit. And we kind of kept moving, stick and move, right? Bag them and tag them. And now if we can just extend that thought and be thinking total lifetime value, we start to think about all those steps along the way. That's how we build a really valuable company.
Absolutely. So I think people respond to incentives, right? So, and I think if you really want to start aligning marketing with sales more closely, start comping them on more down funnel metrics. What do you think of that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. No, I do. I agree. I think, I would 100% agree, but what we were just talking about has to be in place. Otherwise, it won't seem fair.
Good
like if we can't enable marketing to have an effect on total down funnel revenue, then, it's tough to go do. But target account pipeline, that's a really nice metric. Let's go do that. Obviously net new wins, LTV wins, whatever your goals are. Putting marketing in there, maybe spiffs for SDRs in there, I totally agree. But let's give them that. That's part of our knocking down the walls era. We want to incent them for it, and we want to give them a stake in the game there, and that drives really great behavior. And it's funny, right? You think, well, if you knock down the walls, then marketing will want to be there, but sales really has to let them in, right? And so that's why. This is a total agreement that we all want to go work together to get these down funnel milestones. And then the company is just in great shape. It really is. Yesterday, Amy Miller from AppFolio was talking. She said, I've never been comped on leads.
Oh.
Right?
Well, there you go.
And she's 8.5 years on the job of CMO. What's the average? That's 6.5 years more than the average one.
Exactly.
And she said, I want you to comp me on revenue.
I like it.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and she said I've never been comped on leads, and that's just
they're thinking about
that's great. The right and so, but again, remember, sales has to be a part of this because there's too many times where they would say, "Well, I want them comped on revenue," but then it's still a adversarial, almost like customer service relationship. I want them comped on revenue. Give me great leads and stay out of the way. And that's not what we want. We want, give me great leads, influence my deals, provide the enablement we need to move deals through the pipeline, be thinking about ideas against each step in the journey on how we can influence that against our target accounts or whatever it might be. And then we've got nirvana.
Mm-hmm. Say they have all that in place. How do you actually start to then get marketers buying? Because honestly, marketers probably a lot of times don't want to be comped on revenue or else they'd be in sales, right? Mm-hmm. How do you actually start to make that mind shift for the marketers?
That's a good point. By the way, one thing I think we didn't talk about is, but in terms of alignment, aligning before you start on the accounts that you want to go get is actually a huge element of alignment.
Absolutely.
We should talk about that because in the past, marketing has created leads out of nowhere, and so has sales development. We've said, no, it's a good lead. Or this is a great opportunity. Please believe me. Instead of saying, okay, we're going after this now, right? So we talked about their journey, but we didn't talk about the origin. The origin is we decide who we want, and everyone agrees that we want them to, engage with us, take meetings with us, get demos from us, and, and all these things. And we all agree that if it's from these accounts, then we're doing the right thing. That's huge for alignment. All right, so marketing. So, yeah, I think MQLs or lead numbers were a protection. Marketers, and I mean that in marketers' favor, because it was rough, right? And we finally found something we could hang our hat on, that we could be responsible for, that lit up the scoreboard, that made everyone feel good about what we were doing. And at the time, I think it was the right thing. I mean, look, your CEO, John Miller, was one of the reasons this happened, which was marketers were actually able to go in and say, I got 10,000 leads, pay me on that, right? So it was a protection device. So I think there are things that marketing's going to want to see, and one of those things is that they're going to have a seat at the table, a real seat at the table for the entire life cycle, and the resources they need to be successful in order to be able to go do that. And if they don't, they're going to be really uncomfortable with it. But I actually haven't seen. I don't know what you guys are seeing, but I think most CMOs would say, I'd sign up for revenue, but I just need this, this, and this. And I think there's I think they're willing to do it. It's just there's what we just talked about. The alignment in the relationship has to change for them to feel really comfortable about that.
Yeah. What are the most common mistakes you see people make that are really holding them back from getting that real solid sales and marketing and alignment?
Well, I think everything we just talked about, actually, if you just reversed it. So one is leads mindset from everyone. Look, you and I both know there are companies where they can stay in the leads mindset, or there's parts of your market you can't. You can.
That you probably should.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if you're the mid-market SMB at Ring Central, it's like, keep going, right? Because you know how to grow business, right? But for the other areas, we have to be willing to change. I think the alignment falls down on the ICP, right, which I just talked about. A strict dividing line between getting leads and then not, and then a massive issue with communication and syncing on strategy, right? And so all of those things play a part. So all the things we said on the positive side of what you got to do, when they don't, it's really tough. The target account list is for, well, you guys see this too. I mean, I was talking to John the other day. He's like, it's like, let's get going. And they said, well, we're still trying to make sure we sync on the target account list and the ICP. So it's actually not that easy. Some people go, duh. I say, I mean, there's companies that are still they won't even get going because they can't figure it out. I think, when we talk about sync a strategy, that's an orchestration thing because there's a trust thing. So you and I both know sales development and marketing can sync almost immediately. Orchestration there is like, let's do it. When we start to orchestrate into the sales process, that's one of trust, and that takes time, So I think, I tell most companies, in a perfect world, we're all synced, but in the near term, marketing and sales development, you guys collaborate and orchestrate, and then we can continue to add as we go, because there's such an impact there, it's unbelievable, right? I mean, I've seen 2x SQLs, I've seen 30-40% lifts on connect rates, all the key numbers in sales development lifted by bringing marketing to the table and orchestrating there. So if you could start getting wins there, then gradually infiltrating the sales process and supporting them, that's the way to go do it. So it's like, it's funny, right? So we say these elements, but actually what we tell people is a big mistake is going 100% all in out of the gate. Because it's tricky. There's too many moving parts. We'll make that long-term commitment, but let's go left to right. Let's start with what marketing and sales development will do together. Then let's start doing what everyone in sales can do together.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah, dude, it's a reality. Sales is a tough customer.
Yeah. Well, I think you said it is like, comes down to two things for me. It's like trust between teams and communication.
Yeah, it's amazing, the communication one.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I feel really... it's almost it's not embarrassing, but The fact that we have to bring that one up is really, it feels kind of soft, like if Dr. Phil show or something. But it's true, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the companies that make it work have real communication, real action-oriented communication. And it's just different.
Cool. What's one thing that a company can do today, one real actionable takeaway that can drive them closer to sales and marketing alignment? Maybe it's like one thing for sales teams and then maybe one thing for marketing teams.
This is a great question. Well, I think in terms of getting marketing and sales alignment, so I'll answer the first one, which is a repeat of what I just said. If they want to get coordinated tactics working together, then the first thing they should do is walk to the sales development department and go, let's go do this together. I'll start throwing some ads and some direct mail in front of your campaign, and they will see lift. I mean, you know that, right? I mean, they will see lift.
And they'll never turn that down either.
No,
ever.
No, of course not. It's so funny. Everyone laughs when I say this, but like the dirty secret that's really funny and shameful that I have to say as well is if marketing and sales development work on the same accounts, then conversion rates rise. Everyone laughs at me at that, and I say, but you're not doing it.
You're not doing it.
Right? You're out there buying white paper leads. They're out there cold calling a different set of accounts. By just focusing both efforts on those, you'll see a lift. So anyway, let's not call that sales. That's sales development. That is a great way to get going. I think the coordination on the sales side, I think on and marketing side, if it's the one thing they could do right now, I think we would both agree if they can't get tied to the same metric, it's going to be a tough conversation.
It's an uphill battle.
Yeah. So I think on marketing, let's go to sales, and let's find out 1 to 2 things besides leads that are affecting their ability to close business, and let's try to propose something that we can go do together. So I gave the example of the CMO did that, and the VP of Sales said meetings with the right people, and then essentially pipeline acceleration for him was defined as getting more stakeholders in the room. So she went to him and said, well, let's attack that. And she helped with her team put together a very stylized workshop that they can run on site for their clients. It's a security group, so it was an audit thing. It was hugely powerful to get the right stakeholders in the room. So they were able to do something really tangible together and build trust together. And then sales, like I said, is call some meeting with marketing about whatever. It actually could be about whatever you want. I would say pipeline acceleration or even just the revenue process. And you can't use the word leads, demand generation, or anything in that meeting, and see if you can have a meeting that's meaningful without complaining about the leads. And I think those are just 2 sort of fun things, because I think overall there has to be that strategic platform for the collaboration and alignment to really work. But if you just want to have some fun tomorrow, do those 2 things.
If you want to have some fun.
Yeah.
All right. You heard it. All right. Last question.
What?
If you could choose a superpower, Craig, what would it be?
Well, I think flying would be cool. I mean, I know I may not be able to. I'm sure people have chose better ones, like being strong and stuff. But when you asked me that, I was thinking, how cool would it be right now to just fly to the city and just cruise around?
Amazing.
So I guess my superpower is so I can have more fun in life. Most people would do it to get ahead of life. I just did it to have fun.
All right, where can people find out more about you and what you're doing at Topo?
So topohq.com, and then the blog.topohq.com. And I think that's a good place to start.
Great. What's up? Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
If you're a B2B marketer, we want to feature you on sites like the Huffington Post, Social Media Examiner, and Chief Marketer. Every week, we send out a question related to B2B marketing. We use the responses to those questions to fuel the content we write for really popular websites. So head over to sweetfishmedia.com/questions and sign up today.
Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.